Crypto Kids, I have some of the most exciting breaking news for blockchain technology that you've heard in a long time. It is super beneficial for your favorite layer ones like Ethereum, like Solana, like BNB. And that is one of the top two exchanges in America that processes $3 to $5 trillion worth of capital per month, building their own on-chain tokenized security platform. It means in a very near future, if you wanted to buy AMC stock, Eli Lilly stock, you don't need to buy one full share anymore. You can buy a fraction of a share, and you can do it on potentially the Ethereum blockchain, the Solana blockchain. Imagine if only 10% of that 3 trillion to 5 trillion of volume diverts into Ethereum, into Solana. That can cause prices of these to skyrocket, and that's what I want to discuss here on today's video. Not only will it do that, but it can also lead to GDPs of countries going up. Fractional purchasing will allow more people to invest and participate in the markets. That's more capital, that's more price appreciations, but more importantly, it is more people drifting away from poverty. Investing allows you to grow your wealth. That's amazing. And finally, interoperability via stablecoin adoption can bridge capital from traditional finance, brand new capital into cryptocurrencies, again, boosting the total value of our industry. If this is a topic that interests you, make sure to watch until the end. We will touch on Bitcoin and the latest from President Trump very soon. So stay tuned. We'll do it by the end of this video. But guys, if you are tuning in for the first time into this channel or you're not subscribed yet, make sure to do so. We're very close to 65,000 subscribers. We post daily price updates and daily breaking news. Recently, we were able to call this price action perfectly. We said that if Bitcoin breaks below the 94.7K level with a confirmation, we will head towards the CME gap closure at 88.2. That's exactly what we're doing. And I'm quite certain that Bitcoin will close the CME gap. We're getting a rejection from that Ichimoku Komu cloud. We said we would. Most people were super excited when Bitcoin was at 97K, but we said, hey, hold your horses. Hold your horses. We're due for a small correction, and then potentially we can continue upwards based off of what the market projects us. We will cover that at the very end of this video. But first, let's go into the breaking news from the New York Stock Exchange. This is massive, right? You're going to allow a couple of things to take place. So let's break this down. We covered the $3 to $5 trillion. Firstly, if only 10%, in this new platform, they will most likely start off with private blockchains, and then they will scale into multiple blockchains. That's what sources reported. Multiple publicly available blockchains like Ethereum, like Solana, like BNB. Those are some of the ones that are on my mind. Potentially Optimism, that's a layer 2, but maybe Arbitrum, right? So once you do that, that 3 to 5 trillion is going to split. Let's say 10% went into the leading blockchain, that is Ethereum. Currently per month, Ethereum processes $50 to $60 billion worth of capital. That's good, but it's nothing compared to the New York Stock Exchange. Imagine that went to 200 billion. Imagine that went to 300 billion. What is that going to cause? It is going to cause more deflation. It's going to cause more deflation. More transaction fees means the more that is burnt. So the amount of Ethereum supply is going to start to slowly trickle down. Less supply, but demand from the network effect, because you need to hold Ethereum to be able to process those transactions, leads to prices going to the upside. There's going to be more staking. More staking means a more secure Ethereum. So it's fantastic for prices, and it's fantastic for the blockchain itself. We know that once the economy starts expanding, we know once the ISM goes into expansion, Ethereum is going to benefit from it anyways. But this fundamental approach from the New York Stock Exchange could be sensational. So Ethereum is my first top pick. Then I have Solana. Solana is huge on DeFi, and it is one of the most well-versed retail blockchains out there. I think Solana will benefit massively too. So Solana is another one that I'm scooping up at these price levels following this breaking news. And two more honorable mentions. I love Chainlink. Chainlink is the technology that is developing. It is designing the infrastructure for tokenization itself. Chainlink is providing the technology. It is bridging off-chain data, the price of AMC stock on a traditional exchange, and it is bridging it to the on-chain platform. It is the oracle. It is necessary. Chainlink, unlike so many other crypto projects, it actually has a real-world value. There's a real business behind it. This is why I'm bullish on Chainlink. And finally, I really like Ondo Finance too, because they are the guys that pioneered tokenized equities. They already have a platform working. Where you can buy NVIDIA on chain. It's incredible. So Ondo Finance, I think, is another one that can gain traction because people may not want to use centralized forms of purchasing. They may want to use decentralized forms of purchasing. So I think Ondo Finance can gain traction. So those are some of my top picks. And I've explained to you why they can see price increases from the network effect. You need to hold the underlying layer one to be able to go ahead with those transactions. And obviously with things like Ethereum, there will be deflationary pressures from transaction fees. So I'm bullish on those. That's what I'm holding on to. Secondly, country GDPs from tokenization can go up. You may say, CryptoKid, how is that possible? Well, currently, when you buy one AMC stock, for you, when you purchase it on your mobile device, it's going to say, okay, that asset has been transferred, you own it. No, that's not the truth. Behind the scenes, it takes one full day for you to take ownership of the equity that you just purchased. There's so many middlemen involved. It is a very costly process, and it is a very highly inefficient process. That middle person called the DTCC, well, they've got a big office. You need to pay for the electricity. You need to pay for the invoices. You need to wait one day for the money to transfer. It is super inefficient, and it is super costly. Larry Fink, the largest asset manager CEO in the world, said that tokenization will extend financial markets by reducing friction. He means that with blockchain, your transaction will go through in a couple of seconds' time, and that ownership, it's transferred effortlessly. There's no middleman. You have mathematics and the public blockchain ledger tracking that ownership. You don't need a centralized middle person doing it. It's a permissionless, trustless system. It's beautiful. The faster the transactions take place, what happens is velocity of money increases. Velocity of money increasing means that GDPs go up. So every country is going to be incentivized to do this. Third, fractional purchasing. Right now, if somebody's bullish on Apple stock costs around $200. We can go to Apple and you will see that Apple stock costs around $200. Now, you may be bullish on Apple, but the thing is, you don't have $255 to buy. So what are you going to do? You're forced to be sidelined. But if you tokenize it, you can buy a fraction of a stock. You don't need to buy one full stock. This means more participation, more capital participating in the financial markets. More capital participating means that in the macro, well, assets, they see a benefit. Assets go to the upside with more capital. Also, if more people can invest, well, you're also shifting the line of poverty. Most people can't participate in the financial system. They're not banked. They're not allowed to invest. They don't have enough money to buy a stock, a share of a stock or of a company. Now they will be able to do it. So more and more people will be escaping from poverty, and the gap between the wealthy, right, and the poor will reduce. You're democratizing finance. That's what you're doing. So it's another very cool thing. And finally, interoperability. This new exchange, the New York Stock Exchange is developing, you'll be able to fund it with stablecoins. It's huge. So existing investors in the traditional markets, the traditional financial markets, people that already own Apple stock, MicroStrategy stock, whatever stock, they will be able to sell, pivot into stable coins, withdraw it into their wallet, and then start to buy cryptocurrencies. Just like with the ETFs. When the ETFs first came out, you couldn't sell the ETF. It just came out. You could only buy. That has a net positive impact, net buying impacts. This will be the same. When people can easily funnel their money from traditional stocks into cryptocurrencies, that asset rotation, right, ease of asset rotation, barrier of entry will cause the entire industry to flourish in a positive way. So all of this is great. Again, my picks are Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, Ondo Finance, maybe even BNB, AVAX, even Arbitrum, I would say. So those are the ones that I'm looking out for. Very quickly, update on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, just in a nutshell, I think we're going to close the CME gap at 88.2. That's what I'm looking at. I don't see any signs of immediate reversal for Bitcoin to the upside. The tensions with Greenland are still there. President Trump made the following announcement today. He sent a letter to Norway's prime minister saying that he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace because the country decided not to award him the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump says this is behind his decision to take control of Greenland. Like, I don't even believe we live in the real world anymore. It's nuts. It's totally insane. So the situation with Greenland is very complicated. I think at the end it's going to resolve. That's what always happens. President Trump creates a threat with tariffs, and then it escalates. Countries decide to retaliate. Then there are some productive meetings being had, and then it de-escalates, and then President Trump says that he's going to remove the tariffs, and then he doesn't remove the tariffs, and then he ends up removing them. Like, that's just the cycle. That's the playbook that we've gotten used to over the past year and a half. Let's see if it's different this time. But yeah, in the short term, I think it's bad. But in the long term, I think markets will eventually recover. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye-bye, guys.